Welcome back. Today we're going to start off by just harvesting some tomatoes that are ready. Looking for your tomatoes to be firm but not hard. Last one for the day.
Is that guy right?
Not quite yet. He's still a little firm, and if you notice the color, it's much darker on the bottom. It hasn't completely ripened to the top. If you notice, all of these white onions have all started to flower and to bolt. These I actually planted as a clump as opposed to separating them out a little bit so that they had more room to grow. It looks like the growing conditions weren't ideal since all of them are relatively small by the time they flowered. So today, one of our main objectives is going to be harvesting the first container of potatoes. I find the easiest way to maintain some of the dirt is to get one of these extra large garbage trash bags. Before we start harvesting the potatoes, as you can see, the leaves have all dried out. Our garlic that we had companion planted with the potatoes aren't quite ready yet, so we're going to actually transplant these guys into our pepper pot, and then we'll harvest the potatoes after that. So we're saving the roots, and we're going to replant this guy. It's as simple as that. Our first potato of the day. So if you notice, the garlic is really deep down into the soil, and this is actually the first year that I've tried planting garlic. Unfortunately, I didn't think it all the way through. Look, another potato. With potatoes, I tend to mound them. I only fill the bucket to a certain point initially, and then once the leaves start growing, then I add more soil on top. And unfortunately, I didn't think that part through when I had planted the garlic originally at the same time that I originally put in the potatoes.
So now the garlic is buried too much.
Yeah, so the garlic now is too far in.
And when you replant them, you're replanting them closer to the surface. Oh, look at that little guy.
Now that our garlic has been removed and replanted, we're gonna go ahead and move our container over to our trash bag. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of dump the soil into the trash bag, and we're going to sift through to see our potatoes. And you can already see we've got several right here at the top. When you're harvesting your potatoes, you do want to do it gently. You don't want to end up breaking any of the skin. If you notice, the soil is kind of dry, and that is on purpose. I water the potatoes every other day so that they don't get moldy. This is what happens when they get to be too wet. Originally, we had only planted about 4 potatoes in this one container, and we have about 20 potatoes harvested here. So now that we've harvested some potatoes, we're gonna go ahead and plant another batch. These are organic grown baby creamer potatoes that I got at Costco. If you're going to plant from grocery store produce, you just need to make sure that it's organic so that the chits will actually grow. All non-organic produce is sprayed with certain pesticides that stop the growth of your chit. So the organic ones, since they're getting a little soft, we're going to plant those and see what we can yield. We're going to reuse quite a bit of the soil that we had originally had the potatoes in from the previous harvest. In the initial bucket that we harvested I had my niece and nephew come over and help me plant everything. And so that first bucket was Mateo's bucket. Over here we have Lucy's bucket, which will be the next on the harvest list. With the kids, we only planted 3 or 4 potatoes per bucket. You can always plant more than that, but you need to be conscientious of the space that your bucket allows. You don't want your potatoes touching each other. So if you notice, I've only filled the bucket about 6 inches, which is a full hand width of mine. And we're gonna go ahead and plant our potatoes. You wanna put the chit side facing up in the soil.
How far apart?
You can separate the potatoes by about 1 inch, but again, you don't want your potatoes to be touching. And you don't want your potatoes to be right up against the edge of your bucket. And last one. Next, we're gonna fill the potato bucket another 4 or 5 inches, and we're gonna use fresh soil for this portion of it. You wanna make sure that you're rotating your soil every so often to help control any diseases and any pests that may be present in your older soil. So we're just doing a progress check on our thyme here. One of the ways to know when your thyme is fully dried is that it'll break off in your hand pretty easy. This isn't doing it yet. We're only about 8 days into the drying process, so it's not quite ready to completely harvest yet. So we'll give it another couple of days, and then we'll be able to store it and use it for future dinner.